Hey everybody, I'm John. I collect cards. Hope you're all doing well. It is Monday, August 19th, and I'm doing a video here that the type of video I don't typically do on my channel, but I thought maybe it would be good to do. I'm going to do a quick how-to video here. So you might be coming to my channel possibly for the first time, and if I'm getting my title video right or SEO right on this. And if that's the case, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I want to try to share quick steps here on how easy it is to do through the mail autographs. I've been doing autographs with players through the mail for about 4 years now, and it's been a really fun part of the hobby for me. And I'd say the toughest step in the whole process is the first one. And once you get started with the process, it's a very fun and enjoyable and relatively quick and painless and affordable and even inexpensive way to enjoy the sports card hobby. Whether you are me, who send primarily to retired baseball players, or you look to send to current athletes, it's an enjoyable thing, in my opinion. So without further ado, I laid out pretty much the main pieces of what you would send out to a player, along with this case, this. Occasionally some players take a little bit of a payment, some more than others. Doug Flynn here is $5 per autograph. The very first step in the process, though, is what I would call the best, or it's among the best $15 that you can spend in the whole hobby. And that is an annual subscription to sportscards.net or sportscollectors.net. It's known as SCN for short. So I'll have that on the screen here. Basically, this gives you entree to all the addresses in its database that goes back now a couple of decades, maybe more like 25 years. I think this website looks like it was still in the late 1990s, and it doesn't really matter what it looks like. It does its job, and it does it very well. It is a very, very impressive repository of player addresses that have been built up over the years, and there are a dedicated group of subscribers who regularly, I guess, update addresses, or it's possibly the admins themselves. I don't do too much in terms of the, like people post photographs of autographs they get and kind of their, how they fared, whether or not, they actually got them back, or, how long they take, et cetera, et cetera. Players sometimes, suddenly will charge a fee if they were free in the past. So this website gives you all the detail on that. There's also info on private signings as well. So that's a whole aspect I haven't been involved with yet, but just a fantastic website. So I highly encourage you to start there, and that's really the way to start if you want the addresses. There are other websites out there that can provide addresses as well, but I'm recommending SCN. So that's a $15 annual subscription again. Once you have that set up and you kind of get an idea of who you want to send to, and you can search by player last name, you can search by, or just click on most recent, the most up-to-date, like people who've gotten mail back most recently. I find that actually a really good route for me, because it gives me ideas into players that I might not have thought of to send out to, and I'm like, oh, I know I have cards of that player. Let me send a couple out to him, or let me send one out to this player from the 60s even, who I'm realizing is signing for only $10. I might actually send something out. Those types of ideas are really helpful as well, when you just sort of see who has most recently got autographs back from which players. So anyway, so once you have SCN down, really it's a matter of getting your message right. Well, not even right, just a matter of getting your message done, and getting your envelopes in order and stamps, and it's a pretty quick process at that point. So I typically use a standard note. Some people handwrite on an index card, please would love your autograph on the following cards enclosed, etc. I ended up crafting a little note that I adjust slightly depending on the player. Occasionally I might adjust it slightly. I usually reference the actual card that I'm sending them, because occasionally, even if I do that, occasionally I'll get back, and it's probably happened 3 or 4 times over now probably several hundred requests. So maybe a 1 or 2% rate of players sending back a different card than what you initially sent. So that does happen once in a blue moon. So I do mention the card I send, but I have just a little story about how I first got into card collecting that I include on every note. And then occasionally I might mention, if it's a current player, I might adjust this ending a little bit. Or if it's, some retired players might be broadcasters, so I might reference, their broadcasting career as well. Little things like that. And those, I think, I don't know if notes like this help in a way that you might actually get a reply back versus someone, if it's more handwritten and just sort of, I really appreciate you signing this, thank you. But it's just how I went about it. It's worked out for me. So I have this handy. And basically at that point, in terms of supplies, you need number 10 envelopes. And then you need the number 6 3/4 envelope. And this one will end up being self-addressed to you. I haven't written out the addresses on here, but you're going to just basically put your own return address here and your own to address here. And then what you do basically is, it's, at this point, it's just a packing game. So Doug Flynn, again, is $5. I'm sending out to Doug Flynn because he was part of the infamous Tom Seaver trade from the Mets to the Reds. Doug Flynn was one of the players they got back, 4 players they got back. I usually put any dollar amount that players request. I kind of stack it like this, where I kind of hide it as best I can. I typically don't fold it more than once, because then it'll just make it that much thicker, perhaps. And so I try to keep it as flat as I can, and I just fold once. It's pretty much the size of a card, so I just kind of have it tucked in like this. And one other note about the envelopes: I highly recommend you do seal the strip seal envelopes. That way saves you from licking. It saves the player or whoever's doing it for the player on their end to lick envelopes. When I first got started, I was working through finishing a box of envelopes that I already had on hand that were that didn't have the seals here, or the strips. And I did get a reply back from one player. I think it was only one, but basically kindly requested to not send envelopes to lick anymore. So that's an easy, and it just every little bit helps like that. So helps on your end, on the front end too, and it helps the player out. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are some who absolutely just refuse that to deal with that. But anyway, so I recommend the strip seal envelopes. It's a little bit more, but it's well worth the expense. An extra 50 cents a box, or 50 or 100. So anyway, so you have this. I tuck it in here with the money right as below the card as possible to kind of keep it hidden from view. Here's my letter. Typically, just kind of the way my letter is set up, I have it set up where I'm just able to do the fold right below the player's name, or in terms of on the address line. So you fold it over twice like that. Got this again. I tuck it in like this, just like that. Just keep it as. If there's money involved, I try to keep it as hidden as possible. So you got the envelope back to you, tucked in there as well. Add it in here. Take off the strip. Et voila. Then you'll drop this in your mailbox, raise that flag, or drop it off at the post office, and you're all good to go. And hopefully in a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've gotten replies back in as little as 7 days, a week, or as long so far as, maybe a year and a half. I think I've gotten probably about 4 or 5 that have taken more than a year to come back, and so that's always a fun day when you get an envelope that has a stamp on it that you remember using maybe a year ago or more. So hope that helps everybody. Want to just offer up some tips on how to explore TTM autographs. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you on the next video.